Hi guys, today my discussion is with Irina Finkler. Irina is a B&B host in the New York area of the US. Irina says in her own words that she fell into short-term rental by accident and has never looked back. Please take a listen. Irina, it's good to have you on board. I've spoken to so many people across the world because this business is taking the whole world in the sharing economy by storm now.
Yes, it does.
And I'm very keen to speak to people like you who are also involved in the business. So Irina, if you don't mind, would you like to tell me about your journey in the real estate market and also what you do now up until you got into the short-term rental business?
Yeah, we ran into short-term purely by accident or incident.
Everybody gets into it by accident, including myself. So I'm listening to your story.
We started to flip houses in 2014, 15. We renovated a couple, and this was actually the house we have a short-term rental now is one of the houses we renovated to sell. Just that it happened we didn't sell it fast enough, and we needed to supplement our mortgage payment, and one of the neighbors suggested to go list it on Airbnb. Because she already had one listing and she said it works very good. So we tried, and it was a little bit scary at first. It's like, you put your house, it's your baby, and you don't know what kind of people will rent and what kind of damage you will have. And I'm sure it's a feeling everybody has with their own. And it turned out to be very good. Our first weekend was we had 10 people, young professionals, and they came in town for college football games. And our realtor said, my gosh, it's weekend when everybody drinks and run around town. And we kind of thought to ourselves, what did we get into? But it turned out to be okay. Like people who come for short-term stay, like a couple days at a time, week at a time, don't do any damage to the house. They actually keep it intact and take a good care of it, much better than long-term rentals. So and we fall in love with the concept, and we have it for 2 years now.
2 years. So you've been in the business, the accidental business, for 2 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So how many properties are you managing at the moment?
Well, for now, we just have this one, but we actually put systems in place, and we are looking to expand, either to go with rental arbitrage or co-hosting, or even buy something and start renting.
We will come to that bit. We'll come to the model that you want to use to expand. But first of all, in terms of occupancy, are you getting maximum occupancy for your property?
For the moment, for the period of time, we are in slow season, like September, October are slower in our neighborhood, but we are somewhere in between 65–70% occupancy. Like beginning of the year, we had 90%. We were pretty packed until July, August. And then, I don't know why, maybe not too many business people travel, or not too many events. It's pretty hot in Jacksonville, where we are right now. So people don't come there for leisure travel as much. But then it picks up in November, December, and then beginning of the year, because we have wedding season, we have business travelers coming in, and leisure travelers.
Oh wow, okay. Are you intentionally driving traffic through Facebook or through social media, or do you just list on more than Airbnb?
We list on, at the moment, we list on Airbnb and HomeAway, but HomeAway has affiliated site. We list on all of them. So it's multiple sites, but only 2 listings per se.
Right. I see.
So on social media, we didn't figure out how to promote it. Like, it's kind of, you need local people, but otherwise, like, I'm not sure how to market on social media other than put in our Facebook page and start posting. But as far as the advertising, like paid advertising, I couldn't figure the market yet.
You couldn't figure out a market yet for how to do it. So at the moment, even the 65-75% is from Airbnb and HomeAway.
Yes, purely from Airbnb and HomeAway. We have one person who comes back once in a while, and that's the only one. But
lovely to have that.
Yes, and it's a photographer who works for a local chain of supermarkets, and she comes when she has contract, but she comes like once in 2 months or so. But that's the only customer we have coming back. Like everybody else is come one at a time, and they go back home and never come back.
Oh wow! So this is exciting because you know, a lot of people toy with how to get people back. So at least you got one person coming back. Is it down to your communication with the guests? Because guest communication in this business is extremely important. How do you manage that?
Well, we start with SmartBNB autoresponder messages. Like for Airbnb, it's very important when you answer messages right away, inquiries, and that only takes 1 or 2 seconds for autoresponder to reply. And then I usually see messages on my app, smartphone app, and I try to reply as soon as I see it. So my communication with customers is pretty solid. So before they come, and even during they come, like we have same SmartBNB autoresponder sending messages during the stay. We always ask if they need anything, just feel free to contact. And people are good with communication once you start showing them you care about it.
Tell me about SmartBNB. Is it how do you operate SmartBNB? Because you're talking about SmartBNB and autoresponder.
Yeah, SmartBNB is actually very easy to use. They have default templates and default schedule. You can just adjust it with your personalization. And that's basically what it is. When people send you inquiry, SmartBNB connected to your account by default. And it sends messages right away back, replies to the customer, thank you for your inquiry, somebody will get back to you, or thank you for your booking, feel free to call us before you come, and something like that. It's very easy. Plus, we can send email to our cleaning crew once somebody books the house, so they can put it on a schedule right away.
Oh, I see. Are you using a channel manager at the moment, or you're not because you think it's not necessary for now?
Right now, I don't see a need for one property to use channel manager since I pay a lot of attention to it. But I'm sure in the future we will be using it.
So you do have a cleaning crew, you said.
Yes.
A cleaning crew who would go put up the place up nicely after a guest checks out. How do you connect or manage that? So it means you're not involved directly, you manage your crews.
Yes, and I think if somebody wants to do it professionally, that's the first thing you have to do. You could not clean the house as good as professionals could.
Yes.
And besides, you charge guests for that. So you're not paying out of your pocket. You just charge whatever you've been charged, maybe add a couple more dollars for incidentals. And that's what we do. It took us a few times to find the right crew, but once we found it, we love how it works.
I see. That sounds interesting. What about reviews? Have you had negative, not negative, have you had less than 5-star reviews? And how have you managed that?
I only had 1 3-star review and maybe 1 or 2 4-star. I have most of my reviews are 5 stars. And the only time I had 3-star reviews is when somebody tried to bargain with me on the price. And I put my price down, I accepted their requests, and the moment they left 3-star reviews. So you cannot please anybody. So that's why I'm telling people now, just stay firm on price and just don't compromise with yourself. Because I know I did the same service for them as I did for 5-star review people.
What about the difference between being superhost and not being superhost? Are you a superhost?
I am. I always, like, after first 3 months, I always been superhost. Like, I don't know how it's not to be superhost. I don't have comparison, but I personally, I don't think it's a big change. Maybe for Airbnb, when they choose who is their plus listing, they pay attention to that, and sometimes people search for superhosts listings on their search filter when they search for houses. Personally, when I search for house for myself, I don't care about if host or superhost or not. I just look at reviews people left before me. But for me, being a superhost, Airbnb has some perks for superhosts on the back.
What are some of those?
Well, one of those is actually financial. If you superhost for 4 consecutive quarters, like basically for a year, without breaking the pattern, they give you like $100 gift certificate, so you can use it for your own stays if you go.
But don't you think it will be a bit difficult, if not impossible, to be consistently superhost if you have more than 10 properties, for example, that you're managing?
It may be, or at the same time, it may not. If you have system in place, if you put the right people in place, there is low chance you will have lower than 4 or 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
And I know people who have multiple listings and they have no problems having 5-star reviews.
Irina, let's talk about your intention to expand. Now, you talked about the master lease or rent-to-rent model. You talked about the co-hosting model, and you talked about possibly buying just to rent out on a short-term rental basis. What is your strategy to expand your business?
Well, right now, probably first choice would be find listings who are already on Airbnb, HomeAway, and other vacation rentals and offer management services. This is for people who want to expand but don't want to spend too much money in the process. So basically, for co-hosting or management listings, you don't need to invest anything. You just come to prepared listing, and you just ask for a percentage for the management fee. The second choice would be to rent somebody's house and make them aware. Obviously, you will be doing it. Buy furniture, do interior design, and then rent it. It takes a little bit more of money, but it's almost the same. And buying houses, obviously, is the most expensive.
Yes, of all the three.
Yes, but in terms of real estate investing, you just need to find the area where, if you are buying a house, where the long-term rent and short-term are in demand. So if you at one point decide to get rid of vacation rental business, or if your listing is not as good for vacation rental, at least you will have backup to lease long-term. Because if you buy real estate, it's not as liquid as cash or whatever you invest in. So you cannot just go and sell it tomorrow unless it's a seller's market.
Because some people have done both the master lease or rent-to-rent model and also co-hosting, and it appears as if master lease or rent-to-rent is becoming a little bit unprofitable. I know of a short-term rental business owner here in the UK who rents the properties from landlords, and all of a sudden the landlords begin to see that there is money coming in. So they raise the rents, and local authority no longer charges what they called council tax, which is just tax for being a homeowner. Now they're charging business rate to that particular property because they think they're running a business with it. So all the costs are coming up. And that is becoming a pain for this person. And they're thinking, this rent-to-rent model is not the way forward. What do you think of that?
Yeah, one of the, it's probably true. I hear people complain about it in the States as well. One of the options could be to offer landlord 50-50 split or something like that. So
That's
some kind
one
of partnership. So if they want to do it. But if I was a landlord myself, rented to somebody, I would actually prefer somebody who would do it short-term vacation rental compared to long-term, because as I said previously, long-term renters, people who rent for long-term, could damage the house far worse than vacation rentals.
Yeah. Tell me about this 50-50. Well, I mean, can you explain the 50-50 concept where you would do 50-50 with the landlord?
Well, let's say landlord gives you like monthly price for leasing the house, and that's, for example, $1,000, and you know you can make more with vacation rental. Let's say $2,000, and if they don't want to give you a lease to lease the house, like a scenario you said, you just can't offer, like you can just say, I know I can make this much money on average per month. Well, if you want, we can split the profits based on 1,000 rent, and a lot of landlords may consider it. I'm not saying all of them, but just like a business partnership, you split the profits.
Yeah, but in instances where the property does not get enough bookings for particular months, especially the seasonality in this business, in months that there is not enough occupancy to even make up the costs of running and the landlord's mortgage costs, who bears the cost?
Well, it's a partnership. The partnership bears the cost, both of landlord and tenant. Well, not tenant, but me.
Yeah,
I'm doing it. But that's why it's important to have some backup funds. So you just pull money from those funds, like reserves.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's I think so. A lot of people have now decided to move to the co-hosting bit, which I think, as you said, a lot of landlords also, some will say yes, some will say no.
Well, co-host is one of the, it could be the same landlord-tenant relationship, but in that relationship, the landlord will have to furnish everything and set interior design, and then you can co-host for him.
So, Irina, if you had to give advice to any property investor or a landlord who's being in long-term rental, who's considering going into short-term rental, what advice would you give? Because I just read today about a case in Australia where an Airbnb host actually murdered.
Wow.
Sorry?
Wow.
Murdered. It was in the papers today. Murdered somebody who had actually come as a guest. Now, I think it was to do with renting a room. And then now he's been charged with manslaughter along with his friends. But that is an extreme case of people shining the light on Airbnb and saying there are dangers about this business. So if you were to advise somebody going into short-term rental business, what are the areas that you would particularly point their attention to?
Well, if it's just somebody who wants to start, personally, to me, I don't like to have strangers in the house, and sometimes, as you said, people can come as strangers, and who knows what's on their mind. But research is very important, where you invest, and also before you start doing it, you just need to make sure the city regulations allow short-term rentals. HO, like Home Owner Association, I don't know if you have it in London. We do have it. Like
they do have neighborhood watch, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to make sure it's allowed to be rented for short term, like couple days at a time, because most of them prefer to have people renters for no less than 6 months. So you just need to be careful before you sign the agreement. If you are doing master lease, just make sure you are not in a situation where you cannot get out from that lease. If you're not locked without big penalty, when you need to get out of the lease, so you just need it painless instead of painful. Maybe co-hosting is the best for people to get their feet wet and see how they like it. It's the least investment on people's behalf. So they just need to start managing somebody else's properties, and those properties are already furnished, so you don't have to spend money on that. So one way or another, it's a good way to start. But just make sure the regulations are in place for short-term rentals.
Wow. So in terms of cash flow, if I had to close your eyes and say, Irina, choose between renting your property long-term and renting your property short-term, which one would you go for?
I would go for short-term, because potentially it's a bigger chunk of money. Even if you have, when you calculate your prices, you just need to calculate prices for 70% occupancy. Whatever you have more than 70%, it's all yours. And if it's a little bit less, then you take a loss. But you just need to go forward. Because our first year, we have 6-7 months, we didn't have that huge occupancy rate. It just picked up at one point and it never went down. So it takes a little bit of time to generate good occupancy rate.
Yeah.
So just be patient and stay course. Your course.
Yeah. 2 questions, and I'll let you go. One is pricing. Do you use a particular tool to do your pricing?
Yes, right now we are using Wheelhouse. I'm sorry.
You use Wheelhouse for your pricing?
Yeah, for Airbnb and TripAdvisor, they keep telling us they will add HomeAway, but they didn't add it yet. But I think it's coming soon. But for now, I'm just using for Airbnb. So
you just use Wheelhouse for Airbnb?
Yes.
What about Beyond Pricing, which Beyond Pricing is able to integrate Airbnb, HomeAway, TripAdvisor?
Yes, they do. I don't know why. I like Wheelhouse a little bit better. You have more flexibility with settings. They have more options to set. So you can set weekend price, you can set some other things you couldn't do with Beyond Pricing. Unless Beyond Pricing caught up and they do it now. I didn't check it for some time.
Oh, that's interesting. It's been a great interview with you, Irina. Final question. Irina, if you were an animal, what animal would you say you are and why?
I would be a lion.
Hey, I got a lion, finally. Why is that?
I don't know. Just I have that feeling.
You have a feeling you're a lion, but you don't know why you have that feeling.
I take a lot of pride in what I do.
Oh, fantastic.
And wow. I'm protective. So it's kind of putting it all together, lion or lioness, one or another. But,
oh, wow. That
definitely is that one.
Definitely lion. That is excellent. Thank you so much, Irina. I'm so appreciative of this. And, it's been a joy having you and also to share your experience. Thank you very much for coming.
And thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.